Get out my business. Nani? Okay.
I'm gonna be excited for that.
All right, cool. All right, hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us. This is the Identity Booth. My name's Heero. That's Eric, and we are the amalgamation of what you guys and what we like to call. Because there's gonna be like a bunch of clickbaity stuff in the title, like something to get all you people that like downvoting our videos. We appreciate you guys. We see you guys. It's still engagement to us. Haters are great for YouTube channels, man. Haters are great for YouTube channels.
Hate.
But what we're doing here today, we're gonna talk about the racist turtle, aka Mitch McConnell, and at the end, we're gonna give you 10 interesting facts about Mitch McConnell. But it's not really about Mitch McConnell; it's the filibuster, and that's something that Mitch McConnell has been talking about recently, because he's afraid to lose that ability to filibuster. But honestly, I don't know about you, Eric, but I didn't really know much about the filibuster. I knew the gist of it, but I didn't know much about it.
Bro, when you was in high school, they never made you watch Mr. Smith Goes to Washington?
No.
For real?
No.
Wow. Okay, so all right, bro, tonight it's a classic, bro. It was a 1940s movie. But yeah, you gotta go watch Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. It like completely breaks down the filibuster in a real way. The premise of the movie is a guy who's just like a regular guy who ends up getting into politics. It's the same dude from It's a Wonderful Life, or yeah, I think it's the movie. Yeah, but the same lead actor. But he's in there. He just stumbles his way into politics, and then he used that filibuster though. But anyway, the turtle and the real issue we have with him is he doesn't want to support the doing away with the filibuster, and I can honestly say that I have mixed feelings about it. I really do. I don't know. I'm there. I'm just in this position, bro.
Well,
I mean,
I'm of the mindset.
what are you thinking?
I'm of the mindset if something is hindering us from getting laws passed and things done, work done, get rid of it. Like we are too damn smart to be letting our time and energy go to waste, dude, with 12-hour energy. So before we talk about,
he said 12-hour energy like it's a drink.
Yeah, like it's crazy to me that there are laws that are sitting on that were sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk when he was the majority that people died waiting to see get passed. Like the dude from Baltimore who had he passed away last year, but basically
are you talking about John? Dang, what's my man? I see his face.
I want to say John
Help
Lewis
in the comments. John, it is John.
It's John Lewis. Okay, yeah. And he died waiting for a civil rights level bill for voting to pass, and Mitch McConnell gleefully waited for him to pass away. His inappropriate comments on once RBG is gone, we can finally get what we want, in like just statements like that just make him repulsive. So I want to first get to the basics. What is a filibuster? Let's so everyone knows what the fuck it is, because I think you should know what it is, and it also help you. So here's this handy little video from Vox. I like Vox a lot.
Oh, these 100 people are the U.S. Senate. They pass laws.
I can't stand Vox.
They vote, and when a majority says yes, it passes. But these days, the Senate doesn't do that very often.
The Senate holding 2 votes, both failed.
It's completely dysfunctional.
4 versions of gun control proposals, and all 4 failed.
See, the Senate has this rule. It says before they vote, 60 people have to agree to have the vote. That means just 41 people, a minority, can entirely block a bill. This is called a filibuster. Early on, filibusters were rare. This is a chart of the number of times the Senate has had a vote to break a filibuster in the last 100 years. But in the last 50 years, they started to grow, and now almost every big bill is filibustered. The US Senate is broken, and the filibuster broke it. But the Senate didn't always have this rule. In fact, it all kind of happened by accident. This is the Senate in 1805. It's much smaller than it is now, and the filibuster as we know it today doesn't exist yet. And before they vote on a bill, they debate. If they want to end debate and vote, they just need a majority to agree. But Vice President Aaron Burr thinks a high-minded place like the Senate should have as much debate as needed. So the Senate gets rid of the rule. Now senators can debate for as long as they want, and there's no way to stop them. This is the beginning of the Senate filibuster. At first, it isn't really a problem. Because the Senate is still pretty small, there's only so long a group of senators can physically talk. Eventually they tire out, debate ends, and they get to a vote. But as the US grows, so does the Senate, and they have more factions and more people to filibuster bills. They move to a bigger room, and now it's 1917. World War I is underway, but the US isn't involved. Then President Woodrow Wilson asks Congress to authorize a broad military action. A group of senators don't want to give Wilson the power to enter the war, so they decide to debate until the session ends, filibuster. Woodrow Wilson is mad, and he demands that they go back to the old Senate rules. The debate can be ended with a simple majority. The Senate doesn't want to do that, so instead they compromise. They change the rules so they can end debate with the approval of 2/3 of the Senate, so that if senators want to block a bill, they need a third to do it. This is basically the system we have today. A supermajority to agree to vote, then a simple majority to pass a law. And for a few decades, the filibuster is used, but pretty sparingly. Then in the 1950s, the Senate starts to consider civil rights legislation, and Southern senators really hate this. But they don't have the votes to actually defeat the bills, so they start using the filibuster to block bills. Here's South Carolina Senator Strom Thurmond. He looks tired because he just filibustered the 1957 Civil Rights Act for more than 24 hours. These filibusters are painstaking, and they block the Senate from actually doing work. The majority leader at the time, Mike Mansfield, doesn't like this. He's okay with needing a supermajority to pass things. What he doesn't like are these long, pointless speeches. So he makes a change. He skips the debate and goes directly to a vote to see if there's a supermajority to end debate. This means if senators want to filibuster, they don't have to stand up and talk. They can just threaten to, as long as they have the numbers to block a supermajority vote. This makes it way easier to filibuster. And the number of filibusters grows. In the mid-70s, the Senate changes the threshold needed to filibuster. Now instead of 34 senators, you need 41, but it doesn't make much of a difference. And then around the 2000s, senators in the minority start to realize something. They can gain more politically by fighting than by cooperating. So they filibuster everything the other party wants to do. That's what leads to this spike. Now, almost every big bill is filibustered. Finally, in 2013, the Democratic majority makes a change to the rules that says the filibuster no longer applies to certain confirmation votes. In 2017, the Republican majority makes another similar change. Both times, it feels like a huge deal. But now, things are beginning to change. The 2020 elections are coming up.
All right. So, with that, now we know what a filibuster is and like why it's so annoying. So basically, if you guys still didn't get it from the gist, it's you basically don't even have to sit and talk for 12 hours. And by the way, can we just say how happy that guy was to sit there and say he spent 12 hours debating to stop civil rights law? Like the glee on his face after talking for 12 hours straight just to like oppress people is crazy to me. But basically, they don't even have to do that hard part anymore. All they have to do is get a room full of people, at least 1/3, to say that they don't agree with the bill, and they can basically go into filibuster hold. So it's just a way of a minority group of people in a room who don't really have any affliction other than to cause conflict at this point, especially at the level that we're dealing with it in government and policy right now. I don't know. That's my automatic scope on it. And it's basically going against what the American people requested. When the Senate votes, the people vote to put those people in there. If you don't like the people that are in there, you vote to remove them. But then to know that you have a majority in there finally, but you still allow the majority to derail progress, that speaks ill of our democracy. I don't know. What do you think?
I have mixed feelings about the filibuster. Part of me feels like what's going on right now won't be an issue. Wouldn't be an issue if I'm asking a question. Would it be an issue still and I want to know what you think, Heero, and I want to know what people in the comments think. Is this an issue if this was an all-red government?
It wouldn't be an issue because once again, it's the situation that is going on. The people voted that way, so let the people's voice ring true. If in a world that is just and balanced, you would think in a world that's just and balanced, if there's 51 people who agree with something and 49 don't, you go with the majority. It's just that simple. But literally, we are having a vote to have a vote about something that the people have decided on already. Because you only need a simple majority when it gets to the floor, but you need a super majority just to have a debate. If it comes to the floor, it's a barrier of entry for us to do work. And that's what we pay them 6 figures to do on our behalf. Some of them for the last 10 years with the help of lobbyists to back them. So like, the part that is baffling me is like, what part of that do you agree with? Like when it comes to the government running efficiently and effectively based on rules and regulations that the people expect to happen, why would you be in agreement with people deliberately going against that? If it was red, blue, white, green, or yellow, it doesn't matter. If that's how we voted, why aren't they doing what we tell them to do? Like,
because they don't have to. That's why we've put them in a position.
No. Like,
that they don't have to.
I hear that part, but let's stick on this topic. The topic is the filibuster. The filibuster serves no purpose when it comes to doing the work we need to do. Like, why would you be in agreement with them not being able to do the work, doing the work they should be doing?
You were directing that to me?
Mm-hmm. Because you said you don't see a problem with it.
Hold on. I said I'm torn. Did I actually say I don't have a problem with the filibuster?
I mean, okay. So do you or do you not agree with the filibuster?
I said I'm torn. I see where it would be beneficial only from the standpoint if something is egregious or if there's things in a bill that we cannot see. You dang sure better filibuster. But if you just gumming up the works for the sake of not giving the other side what they want, trying to stick it to the other side, somebody in the comments said is Mean Girls on drugs. This is high school games. It is childish behavior in the highest, and I do agree with you that.
Then why not remove the filibuster so we can get to work?
Okay, but here's the problem. You can remove it. I'm fine with that. And everything that the blue team wants to do right now is going to happen real quick. But again, if this was an all-red government,
and that's how the people voted. Yes, if that's how the people voted.
But Heero, this is you being sane and sensible. Well, let's just talk about the majority of the people in this country, the uninformed, ignorant voters. What are they going to say?
If you ask somebody on the street, is 51 more than 49? They're going to say yes.
Of course they are.
So with that logic, then let's stick with that logic and let's just let that be the rule.
We're not disagreeing there. What I'm asking you is, a normal conservative person today, if there was no filibuster, would they be throwing tomatoes at the House of Congress, at the Congress? Would they be throwing tomatoes at Congress or storming the building?
A conservative today?
Yeah, if there was no filibuster.
No,
today.
They wouldn't. Why would they be storming the Capitol because of
They stormed the Capitol for less. That's what I'm saying. If there's no for real. Let's throw it out there. But the point I'm making is, if they storm the Capitol for less, you remove the filibuster, and then the blue team just starts ramrodding whatever stuff they want.
But it's not ramrodding. That's how the people voted. If the people voted, 51%,
but you and I aren't disagreeing on the point, bro.
So then we have to acknowledge that the people who are upset, they're upset because they're wrong, and if they want to be right, they need to vote accordingly.
And again, we agree there. But that's why I use the Reds as an example. Now I'm going to flip the script. When the Reds are in power,
like the Blues, like they were last year.
I mean, completely in power. They had all.
They had the House. They had the Senate.
They did not have the House.
They had the House at the beginning of Trump. They had the House in the beginning of the Senate for 2 years.
Okay, great. Thank you. So imagine Trump comes into office
Which
and
he
there's
didn't.
no filibuster. Huh?
But he
No,
had majority. He had majority
no-
on both sides.
But just imagine there's no filibuster.
But bro, he had total control, and the filibuster, even with the
Exactly.
filibuster. So like, and what I'm saying is the filibuster was a zero factor because he still had majority. But he want to know why they didn't push anything? Is because they didn't have anything to push. The Republican Party functions almost strategically off of conflict. Because
This is the Republican Party's agenda right here.
yeah, like and
That's
in
their
their mind, like I want to pose a question that someone brought up to my attention. It was so crazy. Why come the Supreme Court hasn't done anything about Roe v. Wade? And I was like, because
They're not doing
going
anything
to.
against it.
They're not going to, because the Republican Party would then have to find another dinosaur to poke at. Because if they
But beyond that, see what Trump thought his appointees were going to toe the line, but you got two of the self-proclaimed originalists, like constitutional purists. They're not going to color outside the lines there, and then now that they have an eternal appointment, you can't bully them. You can't. So I don't understand what he thought he was going to get out of that. He really played that one wrong. He would have had a better choice getting a Democratic judge in there if he really wanted that.
I think what it ultimately comes down to is the filibuster is just that, a waste of time. And as long as it's in play, it prevents the American people who voted accordingly from getting what they just deserve in their ability to vote. They had to win an election. They won that election, and now they're being stopped by the other side who didn't win their election. That's just not how it works. If you want to be in power, win that position by making promises to your constituents that you can someday hope to pass in law. But Mitch McConnell is really sour about this because this is what made Mitch McConnell relevant. But Mitch McConnell has had a history that is basically doo-doo. And it starts from him saying stuff about family values and we're all about this to him getting divorced. So
hypocrite.
So let's talk about some of the stuff that he's been hypocrite about. Like for one of the interesting facts that we have here is young McConnell sucked up to jocks to get his student council spot. This is back from his high school. This is a report that was written back in the day. And a lot of these are in gist and in turn, but for the most part, I want to just focus in on some of the more egregious things, right? Shout out to Brock in the comment section. For example, for all the money that he's put on the table for military spending and military budgets and how he found a way to get out of serving in the military. Now, to his credit, he signed up, but his daddy got him out. And that's a level of privilege that a lot of people don't have when it comes to having a source of income and lifestyle. Like stuff like that is egregious. The fact, and this is another thing where you can't be mad at it because he keeps getting reelected. And I don't know if it's just the fault of the Democratic Party's poor ability to run a Democratic race in Kentucky, or is it because people in Kentucky are really just that dumb? With them being almost dead last in education, healthcare, and a host of other things, like, are they properly informed with their decision-making skills? Like, that's a true question right there. We already talked about the divorce. That's how he got his current wife right now, who also tried to bow out of her transportation position that she got in the Trump administration after the riots, saying that this was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was the straw. That was it. None of the other shit he did before. At that time, 400,000 people dying on your watch, and you not having the resources or infrastructure because you gave money to private companies to build roads that never built them and just stayed in construction hell because of COVID. So when people needed to get the vaccines to remote areas, they didn't have roads to do it. That wasn't the straw.
Mm-hmm.
Jump off a bridge.
This guy also, when he's a dirty and he plays dirty. But again, when you look like a little turtle, we already know that brute strength isn't your thing. So it's really just cunning, and that's all that it is. And he has to be a little Schmeagle because that's all he has. I mean, it says he did a video when he was running for his Senate seat depicting a pack of bloodhounds frantically hunting for his opponent. I mean, saying because, and the lie that he told was his opponent missed so many Senate votes because it was off taking payment for public speeches. But what he didn't report was that his opponent had a 94% attendance record. You know what I mean? It's just like stuff like that. Like, you've missed more time, or maybe you haven't, because I don't think he has a life. I really don't think he has a life.
His life revolves around literally making poor people's life miserable in America. But
Yeah.
the last thing I want to kind of draw in, like, instance to in this situation is just this right here. Mitch McConnell single-handedly is responsible for bills that would change water quality in this country, transportation and infrastructure in this country. The fact that
bro, I'm glad you put this particular one. It's funny that we didn't even talk about the article that we were both sourcing for this, and we're reading the same article. But can you please talk about the toxic water? Because haven't we seen this before from a Republican governor?
No, and we saw it in Flint, and they're being sent to jail. Notice that they're on trial right now and being sent to jail.
No. That governor was a Democrat, right?
That was who's the Republican?
Yeah, the governor. That's the first one. I'm confusing it with the one now. I can't remember. Yeah, but he was a Republican, and now we got this guy. Heero, please let him have it. Please.
You have to understand something, that this guy who's also sitting saying is responsible for the investigation into people like him. For example, the toxic water field. The fact that the Democratic Party up in Michigan is able to hold people accountable is because of their vote. He has held votes like this on his desk while he was the majority from passing another vote. The Civil Rights Act passed that we talked about for voting. Toxic water. The fact that internet is not considered to be a utility so that it will be granted to rural areas so that if a pandemic happened, we would easily be able to contact people because we have the infrastructure. It was sitting on his desk and expired on his desk. Like I said, people have died waiting on this animal to make a decision, which he gleefully smiles at, and he takes pride in the fact that he held it down. This is a person who didn't want to vote. Out of the whole entire room of Republicans, told them not to vote for the CARES package, while his Republicans then went on Twitter and said, "You guys are welcome for getting this care package done." He loves to take the glow of the shining work that people's blood, sweat, and tears literally have been put into to get done, and he takes pride in delaying or withholding that from people. And he's the worst. And I just don't get how people don't see that. Like how conservatives see him and say, "This is who I want to represent me."
Hey, scroll down to the next one. We need to spend some time on this one too.
McConnell in 2017 personally introduced an amendment that blocked infectious disease funds.
Really? It literally this just segued into what you just were talking about. You can't foresee a pandemic happening unless you know it's happening. Not going there. Don't want to sound like a conspiracy guy right now. But think about that. He personally introduced an amendment that blocked infectious disease funds. Who needs these funds? Obviously we did. I mean, we still got the vaccine anyway, but it's just speaking of Heero's overarching thing. This guy is an wicked, worthless nobody, and people keep voting for this. People who are his constituents that keep voting for this? Like these again, politicians. Period. They get off on blowing smoke up your rear end because they know They're about to go over here and do something absolutely reckless because they don't care. They don't care. Like the whole thing. And I hope people are who just started watching Heero and I understand. We don't care what ideology you have, what position you take. If you're over on the left and you're out of pocket, we're gonna say something. If you're on the right and you're out of pocket, we're gonna say something. It's just it's just a guy who's been in politics over 40 years. He's he reminds me of Zuckerberg. He gives me that Zuckerberg vibe. Zuckerberg has less of a soul than this guy, and that's saying a lot. But this is what he reminds me of. He just got that squinty, dark little look in his eye that he doesn't mean anything good by anybody. And we've got 40-year track record to show. I'm just saying.
Either way it goes, I'm done with this racist turtle. Just remember, like, and whoever you want to vote for him. I don't care really, but just remember, when it's all said and done, without any Republicans' help, and it's primarily because they were afraid to challenge Mitch McConnell because Mitch McConnell is really the number 2 person in the Republican Party. He told all Republicans, if you vote out of line in this bill, we will come for your spot. You will be primaried. So that's intimidation right there. But let it be known that no Republican got you $1,400. Got your kid. If your kid, like 36% of the whole entire country that was living in poverty for 1 year will know what it's like not to live in poverty. And they say socialism doesn't work, and that's what's crazy.
Socialism doesn't work if capitalism is behind it. It can't work. You go to other countries where it's purely socialist, they get the crap taxed out of them. But I don't know. I can't speak to their quality of life, but I know one thing they never have to worry about. They don't have to worry about healthcare. Mm-hmm. That's my main concern is as a country, we don't take care of the old folks. We don't take care of babies, and we don't take care of the people who need healthcare, which is the citizenry. The society can't go on if people are unhealthy and unfit. Yeah. That's all that it is. That's all that it is. And you can't be upset that people are wanting something that they actually need. God forbid you do what you're elected to do. Is make sure that the quality of life that your constituents have is the absolute highest that you can get within reason, where you don't put unnecessary burdens on them. You don't tax the crap out of them, and you make sure that the burden is shared equally. I'm just throwing it out there. He's not the guy that's ever going to do that. He's not going to come out and say that. He's not going to do what's necessary. And then until either the Republicans or the Democrats find somebody that can take his spot, he's going to sit there, which again is why we need term limits. He should not be allowed to stay there that long and make terrible decision after terrible decision. And then, but you never see this guy, so you don't really know what he's doing. And then he shows back up in 2 years and you vote for him again. He only shows up when he wants a vote. He's not doing anything. Oh, and how do we know? Because he let his people in his own state that he represents have toxic water. Crazy. Why? This is insane. Crazy. It's insane.
But I often say, if hate lives in your heart, you'll do things to hurt yourself in order to feel that hate. Like you will find a way to exact your hate on someone else. But hey, that was the story. That was our perspective on it. And you can find us on the Identity Booth right here on YouTube. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, IG, TikTok. We are literally everywhere, as Eric likes to say, like Visa. But in the event that you want to donate, like MasterCard, hey, the E24 challenge is definitely down there. The Endurance 24 challenge is a great opportunity to donate to a great cause. If you are donating, let them know the Identity Booth sent you. And if you want to run 24 miles in 24 hours, have at it. You could do it, and we'll track it, and we'll actually be viewing the live stream here on YouTube. So you'll get to see that in real time. Russo and Altenberg, great guys from the district of 215, Thorn Fractional North, Naughty North. We appreciate you guys doing that and definitely running in to help us out and help them out. These kids have struggled throughout the year, so we want to make sure we do something to help them out. We got about $4,000, $3,000 in the bank. There's some undisclosed donations going through right now. I don't want to pop the bubble on that, so I just want to say, thank you if you're donating. I appreciate it. And, take a picture of that screenshot and send it to us, man, and we'll put you up here because you guys deserve that notoriety. And with that, that's been the show. You guys take care of yourselves, put on your mask and all that good shit. But
Yeah.
what's the next
Hey,
topic?
And I'm sleep deprived, shorty on my line and we fuss and fight. Seems like every night, don't care who's wrong or right. I hope that in the side, slow it down and we can catch the vibe. But it's so hard to find through the daily grind, we're working overtime. And I'm sleep deprived, shorty on my line and we fuss and fight. Seems like every night, don't care who's wrong or right. I hope that in the sight, slow it down and we can catch the vibes.